thermoregulation. The stimulus is an increased blood temperature because the blood transports the temperature.
Receptor.
I'm not sure how many other teachers record revision material for you. The thermoreceptor
In hypothalamus.
in the hypothalamus. What part of the hypothalamus?
Ooh.
What part of the hypothalamus?
Thermoregulatory centre.
Sorry?
Thermoregulatory
Well done, the
centre.
thermoregulatory centre.
I thought that was the modulator though.
The thermoregulatory
Okay.
centre. Okay, the hypothalamus, all sensory information from your body, all of it goes to a place in your brain called the thalamus. The hypothalamus sits right below the thalamus. That's what hypothalamus means, below the thalamus. Because the thalamus receives all of the sensory input, nerves and hormones and blood and all those sort of, the hypothalamus has access to all of that information. And because it has access to all of that information, it makes a wonderful modulator. So the modulator, again, is the hypothalamus. In fact, it's the thermoregulatory centre.
So that is
Okay. It has access to every bit of sensory information, every bit of information that all of your receptors around your entire body are collecting are taken to the thalamus.
In a response, should we know more information like on the actual specifics about like a thermoreceptor and the
No,
hypothalamus
just if
or
you,
not?
well, it's a modified dendrite. It still goes according to the stimulus response model, which this is.
Yeah.
But for biology, you already know as much as you ever need to know. Okay? So the modulator is the hypothalamus, and then again, it's a thermoregulatory centre. Now, the hypothalamus, there's two types of signal it can send.
Hormonal or
It can send a hormonal message
neural.
and neural. Well done. Hormonal is a slow but more prolonged response.
Yes.
Right? Neural is an immediate response.
160.
Right? So the hormonal signals go to endocrine glands to release a hormone. The neural messages, to get that immediate, they go to muscles and glands. Okay? Now the effector, we need to think about how we're going to get rid of the heat. So this is where I said you need to slow down because you write down what the response is going to be. So it might be sweat. We also know we're going to get vasodilation.
Pillow relaxation.
We know we're going to get pylorelaxation. Now we need to think about what's actually doing those things. These are the marks that students miss out on because they jump straight into the deep end here, but they don't go backwards and slow down and put all of the information in. So sweat comes from sweat glands. This is why it's not a bad thing to slow down and plan your answers so you don't skip over really easy marks. Vasodilation is blood vessels. Pylorelaxation? Erector pili. The muscle at the base of every one of your hairs is called the erector pili. Okay? Now the way that they work together is this. If here is the surface of your skin. Here is the surface of your skin. Here is the sweat gland. Okay. Here is the blood vessel. I'll put it just. There's a blood vessel. All right. And here is, because we've got pylorelaxation, the hair is lying flat on the surface of the skin. Okay. What happens is this.
Would drawing a diagram help our answer? If we
A diagram you can draw a diagram. If it adds to the answer, it can't be the answer.
Yep. Okay.
It used to be in your course that you could write annotated diagrams, but what students were doing is they were drawing a diagram and they would just walk away from it. They would draw something similar to this and they wouldn't write anything down. So now they want you to write it down, and you can add to your answer with a diagram that adds to the answer, but it can't be your answer.
Yep.
Because they were finding students were getting no marks because they weren't explaining the diagram that they were drawing. So we know that we've got sweat, and sweat is water in the liquid phase. Right? And we know that it has to be converted into water vapor. Okay? Now the blood vessel is carrying heat. The body is going to use the heat in the blood. So as it travels through the skin to the surface where the sweat is, that's conduction. Yep. Then the water is going to absorb that heat and change phase. It's going to change from a liquid into a gas, and then it's going to evaporate. Okay, so the heat is going to be used by the water to turn from a liquid to a gas. Yep. And by doing so, the water soaks up the heat and takes it with it as water vapor. Right? The pyrorelaxation gives the water more access to the heat and also allows for other factors like wind to come down and aid in the evaporation of the water. All right? So the response here now is a decrease in the blood temp. Because now we've got a decrease in blood temp and it opposes the increase in blood temp, we're going to write negative feedback. We're going to write negative feedback, and you can say because the response opposes the original stimulus, and then I would draw my famous arrow with a negative, and I would write alongside it negative feedback. All good?